Good morning, Rabbi Sai. Once in a while, I get a real good email. And this one I received at least a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, asking that I should read it today. It was an emotional email. Dear Rabbi Stefansky, I have a story for you. My father, Moshe Hershkowitz, was an avid fan of Yishurim and listened to them every day. Here's a picture of him. I remember him very, very clearly. I was able to have my parents live with me, so every day at Motzi Shabbos I heard Good Morning Rabbi Sai. I actually heard it multiple times a day. Each time my father logged in to hear the Rav review the Daf. We live in Woodmere, and my father was so excited to meet the Rav at a shul, at shul by Rabbi Rablag, and each time there was a siyum in Borough Park in Flatbush. My father was nifter on Dal Kislev at the age of 76 after battling leukemia. Each day I sat with him in the hospital, trying to engage him in some conversation, get him to smile at random thoughts or story of his grandchildren, great-grandchildren, even putting on Daf for him when he was no longer able to listen for himself. My daughter is witness to the events which I'm about to relay over. One day, when he's not responsive to anyone or anything, I started putting on the recording. My daughter told him, Zaidi, we're putting on Reveli. Good morning, Rabbi Sai. And my father continued, We looked at each other in disbelief. My father had not spoken a word all week, cannot distinguish who was with him. But his neshama knew the daf which played such an important role in his life and somehow pushed through with the word, which we heard every day. How I miss hearing those words. My father Moshe Yeshua ben David HaKohen's birthday is Tu B'Shvat, and I would like to sponsor the day of learning in his zchut of his neshama. If possible, I'd also appreciate the story being read so that anyone out there who's just starting the daf will fully understand the impact learning has to the neshama as it did to my father. You should also know that as a result of my father's learning, 2 of my sons took on learning the daf. And it continues, Baruch Hashem, Zahava Goldstein. Mamash, a beautiful email. Boys, today is Tu B'Shvat. I want to show you something beautiful. In the middle of Gaza and Khan Yunis, in a house of probably a terrorist once upon a time. I don't know if we have volume. There's still an issue with the volume, but the point is that they celebrated and they made a tish, a Tu B'Shvat tish, in the middle of Khan Yunis. All right. It's the whole thing. He's schmoozing here. He's talking to they have little stuff on the wall that they do. Okay. Rabbi Isai, Gershi Rose, he puts on his status all the time to get people to come back to the daf. So somebody came back and says that day, Baruch Hashem, I did yesterday's daf. It was amazing to start again. He restarted. Belly mentioned about going 3 days without learning yesterday. I thought about myself. Thanks for the status. Aaron Kestenbaum. Dear Veli, I started a while ago with 8 minutes, but forgot about it for a while and only joined the shiur Klal Daf for the first time, starting my life around, for the first time in my life, starting around Daf Samach Aleph, Bava Kamat. To be ironic, I made it my New Year's resolution to learn more. I learn every day now as I commute from New Jersey to the Bronx and back every day, watching the English shiur and sometimes the Ivrit as a chazara, if I have the time. But because my commute is so long, I can catch up if I miss a day. Baruch Hashem, for the first time ever, I'm learning every day by choice. It makes me more active and happy in my yahadut in a way I never was. Now you say this all the time, but I want you to know how important it is that you continue to repeat it because it gives me chizuk, so no doubt it does to others. When you say there are just people out there who want to learn, but only need that little push, all I can think of is that if this was true for me, there must be at least 1 million more YouTube subscribers out there for you. The point is, it is always there. I needed another push. I feel lucky that my friend Hadar shared MDY with me. I'm a new person because of his push. Also, when you say things like, you should do a siyum, even if you're not 100% sure you really deserve to, these are things that we also need to hear. Because they're all things that make learning Torah even more exciting and have such accessibility that someone like me would never appreciate in learning as intense and a tradition as beautiful as the daf. More rabu masecha. Unthinkable, and I'm so grateful this happened to me. Unthinkable, and I'm grateful. I'm so grateful this happened to me. I decided to make this simple but permanent change to my WhatsApp status. Just one person learns more because of it. Dayenu. Maybe Reb Yosef, if you don't mind putting in that status, I think I forgot to put it in here. Thank you, Rav Eli, for your incredible shiur and everyone who makes it all happen. Keep it up because you are saving lives. B'chaved, Aaron Kestenbaum, West Orange, New Jersey, Yerushalmi b'Makar. Yerushalmi b'Makar. Dear Rebbe, I tried all day and finally got someone to sign up for the next Masechta, but he's a bit of an Amaritz. And here's a picture. You got this guy to sign up. Shkoyach. And finally, our organization endorses from chaplains into the U.S. military. Talking about Chayalib, other part of the defense. Met you many times, most recently at the first annual MDY extravaganza in Connecticut. Pictured our Army chaplains David Eggert from Lakewood and Aaron Cohen from Waterbury, Connecticut, training to be majors in South Carolina. And of course, there you are in the background as a keep up with the Daf. Recently they were deployed in Kuwait, Iraq, Poland. You get to travel with them everywhere. With Torah blessings, respectively, Rabbi F.J. Todd, Yeshiva Pirchei Shoshanim International Dean, U.S. Department of Defense Military Chaplaincy Endorser. Beautiful. We learned Torah in Kuwait, not only in Gaza. It's gewaldic. The Koil of the month sponsored by Anonymous from Lakewood Refuah, Tinoik Ben Malka, the Masechta for the unity of Am Yisrael. Parnas HaChodesh. Last day, huh? In Bava. That would be great to go to Narda and Pupendisa, give a shiur. Everybody goes to Rameh Shapir and Lublin. We gotta go. We gotta Narda. Oy vey. Lidin Shmas Zechariah ben Moshe, Lidin Shmas Chaya Bas Yosef, the last day. Parnas HaChodesh. Ahron Fraiman, it should be a zechus to rebel for continuous siyadta dishmaya and teaching Torah to Klal Yisroel. Parnas HaChodesh. Lidin Shmas Kol Chayili Shenaflu al Kiddush Hashem. I just heard I have to speak to my very, very good friend, Louis Colum. I didn't have a chance to speak to him. I heard it late at night and it was already too late to speak to him. His son was in the unit that lost the 21 Chayalim. And he just walked out of the building and his life was saved, but he had to go back in and grab all his friends that were no longer with us. So they're all very, very shaken up. You know Louis Colum sponsored this space measures, etc., etc. Okay. In memory of Binyomin Airley from Anonymous in Manchester who joined the shiur at the beginning of Sotah. Parnas HaChodesh, Shprintzy and Avrumie Gross, the yahrzeits of our fathers, Shlomo Yitzchak, Aiyzik, zechus levracha, and Binyomin Airley ben Tzvi Hirsch, HaKohen, zechus levracha. Parnas HaYoim, Tu B'Shvat, Lili Nishmas, Chaim Shmuel ben Rav Yitzchak Mordechai, Mr. Sidney Gross on his 25th yahrzeit. Pre-depression orphan, to decorated World War II veteran, to family patriarch, together with his wife, Tov Lamed Tes Aleph, he raised generations by example in Torah, Avodah, Gemilas Chasodim, by his children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren who follow MDY. By Zahava Goldstein, the beautiful email, Lili Nishmat Moshe Yeshua ben David HaKohen. Choking up. The picture. Remember him here. Remember. Okay. Shalom Rand. I don't know where he is. He fell off the face of the earth. Shalom Rand. Here he is. Rezel Bas Doiv, Tu B'Shvat, Safta Rita Yahrzeits, huh? And Yitzchak Freund, L'Refuah Shlema Nechama Perel Bas Sarah Hinda, having major surgery. Parnas HaYoim, L'Nishmas Liba Rochel Bas Reb Shtraga, Faivel HaKohen Oleh HaSholem, and Yitzchak Yaakov Simkowitz, in memory of my father, the day of his 12th yahrzeit, Chayim ben Moshe Elimelech, as the Shom should have an aliyah. In the heart of the month, Anonymous for the zechus, for an easy childbirth, for his daughter, and a healthy baby. Our boy said, here we are. He's in the hospital. Morty Rasby, Refuah Shlema in the hospital. Where is he? Somewhere. I don't know. Is there volume today? Oh, Morty. We wish you Refuah Shlema. Okay. We got to go. Look at this. Rabbi said, take a look at this Amud. It's a little deceiving. 90% of the times in Shas, when you have an Amud like this, it means there's Geshmaka stories and a Gadata. Today means that it's very easy, a lot of words, very little Rashi and Tosfos, but there's a whole bunch of drushes. So I have a shiur for the Olam. If a person with a hole in his heart, a literal hole in his heart, the doctors say he can't live for more than a year, he's a treifa, halachically a treifa, and he kills a human being, he's a killer. Does he get misa or not? Could you testify that you saw that he killed somebody, and therefore, is he chayiv misa? Yes or no? And of course, no one is going like this. Of course, he's chayiv misa. Is that what you're thinking to yourself? Yeah, you're wrong. What? He's a guy for ketila ketala. No, but for a different reason, because he's not a person that you could do hazama to. You can't. You need it. Siyadta. It's not an eidos. No, but I caught your hand in the corner of my eye. I saw you go like. He's gonna die anyway. It's not a free pass. He's gonna get oynish.
Kill him now. Help him die.
Good question, but it's not a eidos shatayochel azima. Let Nachman argue with the Gemara. What are you arguing? So, you know what? Split up. I need Kamiansky sitting between you guys. He's having a shpa. He's going like this. It's like
him, you argued for him, you argued against him, you did it all.
Okay. So Rabbi Say, we're in the middle of a sugya. Everybody knows this is just something you could ask a little kid in cheder. If somebody pokes out somebody else's eyes out, do you take his eyes out? Obviously not. We don't do an eye for an eye, but the Torah says eye for an eye. So we know that that's not the case. But how do we know that? So, in other words, where do you see it in the Torah? We know because from day one, since Moshe Rabbeinu came off at Sinai, people caused damage to their friends. Unfortunately, there's hands missing, legs cut off. We never cut off anybody's arm or leg. How do we know? So yesterday we brought two sources, and the Gemara discussed why we need two. But here's just a Gzer Shava, Makinevish Behema, Pasuk Yiches, and then Pasuk Yites, just like a Behema, you pay money, so to a human being. Then we had another Pasuk, we had a nice try all the way at the end, and we didn't go through it. That how's the pot? It's not ayin tachas ayin. Some eyes are worth more than others, and the Gemara said you see that also by ritzicha. Sometimes you kill a person that has more value than you, less value than you. So it's not exactly instead of. Okay, so the Gemara was doicha that, and now we're going to try another 8 times. Some of them are a little better than others. Some of them are completely pushed off. Different sources, perhaps in the Torah, that you could see this in the Torah. We know again. We have a Torah Shabbat Peh. We know that this was given from generation to generation from Moshe Rabbeinu, that we don't take an eye for an eye. But where do you see it in the Torah? Tanya Yidach, another source, perhaps. Reb Shimon ben Yochai, we're holding like 6 lines from the top of Pei Daled Amud Aleph. And we're going to have to put on speed up a little bit, okay? So put your finger in and let's go for a ride. Shimon ben Yochai, ayin, tachas ayin mammon. I say it means monetary compensation, not eye for an eye. Maybe it means the real eye. I'll prove it to you. Because what if a person is already blind? So how are you going to punish him? You have a guy that it's an amputee, and he's going to cut off somebody's foot. How are you going to punish him? Chiger, he's crippled already. And he caused another person to be crippled. How can you do an eye for an eye, a leg for a leg? So what are you going to say? The what? He should pay. In that case, okay, everybody gets an eye for an eye. But this guy that doesn't have eyes to begin with, he should pay cash. That's impossible. Everybody gets the same punishment. One ruling for the whole Klal Yisroel. That's not a great raya, and therefore it must be it's cash. Not an eye for an eye. Says Gemara, my kushya. In other words, the Gemara is saying, you're right. There is one punishment, and the punishment is an eye for an eye. If a person doesn't have eyes, he goes scot-free. Why? Because there's no other punishment. There's one punishment for all of Klal Yisroel, an eye for an eye. There's not one punishment, an eye for an eye, and the other guy gets cash. It's one punishment. If you don't have eyes, you don't have eyes, so you go scot-free. And I'll prove it to you. So that's the case that we discussed. Here's a treifa Rabbi Yisai, beautiful treifa. The guy has a hole in his heart from a bullet. Treifa. The doctor says he's not going to live. He's not going to survive more than a year. This treifa guy went ahead, and there's Adam. You see the Adam on the bottom? They say he killed him. Come another 2 Adam and say, you guys are liars. Imanu Yisem. You're with us on a cruise somewhere. So, what's the halacha? The halacha is that the guy in red, since the guy in red cannot be put to death, their edus is not good edus. Why? Because they cannot be muzam. You cannot kill the two edim, even if they're liars. Why? Because they wanted to kill a treifa, and a treifa doesn't die. You can't put him to death. Since you can't put the red guy to death, so their edus is not a type of edus that's in the parsha of Azama. You can't say Manu Yisrael and put them to death. Oh, so sometimes you can't do it, sometimes you could. So you see what? Yeah. Correct. Saying it's the type of edus. It's a edus siyadta chazima. I just brought the whole case of Azama. Yeah, even by itself. You're just saying things that the Rosh Kollel would say. He'll be back soon. A guy that has a hole in his heart, or any sort of treifa, his esophagus is missing, I don't know what, that killed a regular person, might have dinlay. You can't do anything to him. So therefore, you don't have mishpat echad l'kulchem. It's not one rule. Oh, so you see, so sometimes if a person, it's impossible to kill him, you don't kill him, but you kill everybody else in Klal Yisroel. Where you could do it, you do the punishment. That's not a great right. The Beir Shmuel Tana. Let's try another one. Again, what is the source? Where do you see it hinted in the Torah that it's not an eye for an eye, it's really money you pay if you poke somebody's eye out? Omakra, Kain, Yinosem Boy. Let's go to the pasuk. Rabbi say, what? This halacha. It's a good thing I started off the share like that. Maybe you'll remember it. But you see, Rav Nachman, you can learn from Noam. He's doing tshuva now. He said the Gemara is right. It's amazing. That's how it is. What? Oh, that's all I want to hear. The Reish Maltana Makro, Kain, Yinosem Boy. Sometimes you just don't understand it, but it's always right. Kain Yinosem Boy. Whoa, I don't know what happened there. The 7 went to the wrong place. Okay. You see all the way in the bottom in Pasuk Chof, the famous Pasuk Shevet HaShever, Aydach Zayin, Kain Yinosem Boy. So, Ve'in Esino Elo Mamin. We had the Yerushalmi here, he corroborated this. In Yiddish, you say, gegeben a gute nesina. It's right? A nesina means money. He gave a nice check, a good nesina. So says the Gemara, it says in the Pasuk Yinasin, it says Shmuel, it means money. Says the Gemara, that can't be. I'll prove it to you from that Pasuk. Kasher yite mum ba'adam, in that same Pasuk, the few words before that. In green, kasher yite mum ba'adam, yitin over here is also nesina. What? It's talking about one guy gave another guy a bunch of cash and caused him damage through the cash. Like what's going on here? Obviously, in this case doesn't mean money. No, it says maybe it does. They had, look, Pasuk Yotes. We'll zoom in into Pasuk Yotes. These are all the same psukim, right? In the same parasha, a bunch of psukim. A person causes damage to his friend, what he wanted to do, that's what we'll do back to him. And then it says, Ken Yinasim Boy in Pasuk Chaf. It says, Ken Yinasim Boy. You see the red in the red, it already says, Ken Yinasim Boy in Pasuk Yutes. So why does it have to repeat itself in Pasuk Chaf? Shema Mina Maman. Because it's extra. In this particular case, Nisina means money. So then why do you need the green words? The extra 3 words all the way at the end of Pasuk Chaf, I get it. To tell me he's talking about cash. But what's the kasher yitim mum ba'adam? Already says that in Pasuk Yutes. I did the boy the michtav. Can you know some boy? Kazonami kasher yitim mum ba'adam. This is, I think, I have to ask I'll ask my Chavrusa and the Belzer. It seems a little bit different than usual. Usually we use this kind of svara on a Mishnah Brisa. The reason why the Mishnah said these extra words is to match the ratio, to say that words in a pasuk are matching, to have a flow. That's interesting. Okay. I don't remember, me personally, again, it could be we learned it 3 days ago and I don't remember. I'm just saying maybe if the Olam remembers such a concept, matching words, things should flow in a pasuk, I think it's interesting. The Bei Rebbe Chia Tana. Another try. Amakra, the famous, we just spoke about it, Hazama, that the Torah says that if you lie, if we find that you're lying, you testified and you're a liar, you were actually with somebody else at the same time that you testified. You testified on Sunday at 12 o'clock. You saw somebody kill someone. And then 2 other witnesses said, no, you're on a cruise ship on Sunday at 12 o'clock. What happens to the person that lied? They kill him. Kasher also can also lie. What you wanted to cause damage to the other, you wanted to cost him $100, you're going to pay $100 if you're a liar. You wanted to take his life, we're going to take your life. So in that parsha it says, Yad biyad. Here, Yad, Yod biyad. With the comments, not Yad biyad. Yod biyad. So the Gemara, Dover anita miyod liyad. Miyad liyad. What do you usually give when you go to the store? You're giving cash from hand to hand, it gives you back change. That's a thing that goes from hand to hand. My new moment says, here's a little hint in the Torah. You pay cash, not an eye for an eye. So how do you, the next words, regel b'regel, what? He gave, you don't give cash with a foot, so then why does the Torah say regel b'regel? By the way, so all these drushes, not all, but they're very similar to each other, concepts that we already had, that's where we could fly through them. We just had this idea a second ago. 2 psukim right before in the whole thing. The famous pasuk. You should do to him like he wanted to do to his friend, this false witness. If you hold that it means literally chop off his hand, it already says whatever he wanted to do, money, cash, hand, life, everything what he wanted to do, that's what you did to him. So why does the Torah have to specify yad biyad? Shema mina mama, and Torah is coming to tell us this hint that you pay cash, you don't take a real hand. So if so, regel b'regel lamali. Oh, same thing as we said before. I did the cause of yad biyad, cause of nami regel b'regel. You're right, regel b'regel is extra. We have nothing to learn from it, but it flows well with everything else. Abaye oimer, another pshat, another source. Ask me the Tanya Bechizkiah. The Tanya Bechizkiah. I got to tell you the story. It's a story from Reb Shrirya Goin. From the Goinim, meaning before the Rishonim, 1,500 years ago, I don't know how long ago, something like that. No, 1,200 years ago. He's from the big Goinim, and he writes this story. He says that, very interesting story. There's an extremely wealthy individual that had 2 sons, and he died, and he left over a tremendous inheritance. Included in the inheritance was a Sefer Torah written by Ezra HaSofer. And both of the boys really wanted the Sefer Torah. They were willing to give up all the money in the Yerusha and take each one. So they made a raffle. They made a girl. And one of the boys won, one of the sons won the... What? You know this one?
No. Go on.
Okay.
So because coming up with solutions for them, like,
cut the
think of anything. I was like, yeah. Why don't they just cut it in half?
Which way? This way or this way? So one of the kids won the raffle. He got the Sefer Torah. He's extremely happy. There was a guy in the neighborhood that saw what was going on. He says, "What? These Meshugayim." He was a mummer. He was apikaris. He says, "This guy gave up millions of gold in this for Sefer Torah. It makes no sense." He went in the middle of the night, took out the Sefer Torah from the Aron Kodesh, and says in the pasuk, "Va'avatim es Hashem Elokeichem." He took the ayin instead of you should worship. He cut out the ayin and he put in the aleph. That Hashem. Ibud means should go. La'avod means to worship. He he changed the meaning of the word in Apikarsus. Anyways, they get to that parsha, everybody's reading from the Torah, they get over there in Shmais, and all of a sudden, boom! The son was extremely distressed. He couldn't believe it. He's like, how's it possible? Ezra Sefer wrote Aleph instead of Ayin. This is not even Ezra Sefer's Sefer Torah, and he lost it. He lost all the money, and now he lost the Sefer Torah. He was very depressed. Anyways, his father came to him in a dream and told him, "Don't worry about it. This is Ezra Sefer's Sefer. So and so did it, and in fact, Ezra Sefer himself is going to come and repair the Sefer Torah." This is Reb Shrirya Goin. This is not like a story written by me. So he says, "But go." Nice. He said, "Me." Very nice. Okay. No, but again, it could be like me wrote the story about the Reb Shrirya Goin. Like we didn't see him write it. Okay, fine. So the bottom line is, the father said, "Go to the shul where this guy took out the ayin, and you'll find the ayin over there." So he went there and he found a human eyeball under the table as ayin tachas ayin. The guy lost his eye. The guy that took it, because of the ayin that he took out. Anyway, we're talking about ayin tachas ayin. I had to tell you the story because there's no other stories today. Says the Gemara, nefesh tachas nefesh. So the Bechizki says like this: an eye for an eye, a soul for a soul. But that means if a person takes out an eye, he loses an eye. If a person takes a person's life, he loses his life. But it doesn't make any sense that a person should lose his eye and his nefesh and his body at the same time. But he says, if it means literally, take the guy's eye out, but what are you going to do? Sometimes it's possible you knock a guy's eye out, he dies on the spot from shock, from blood loss, I don't know what. But the Torah wouldn't tell you that. The Torah says just his eye. How could you assure me that every time you take a person's eye out, he's not going to lose his life? So obviously the Torah didn't mean a literal eye. It means cash. That's what he says. Says, what do you mean? Maybe send him to a doctor, and the doctor sees whether or not he could withstand such a thing. And if in fact the doctor said it's okay, sign them off, and then the guy loses his life, he might okay, no. At least he got to go. Like, and we have a raya. It says by Malchus, you got to assess each individual. The guy's 95 years old. You're going to give him 39 Malchus? He'll probably die after 1 Malchus, 2 Malchus. The doctor has to give him a test, a fit test. So what if the doctor, was not in the mood, looked at him, didn't even take his blood pressure, nothing, and signed him off. And then they start giving him Malchus and the guy dies. Potter. The business is Potter. It's not their fault. The guy was signed off. So over here also, the guy was signed off that we can remove his eye. So removed his eye and he died. No, that's not a raya that the Torah didn't mean that. Okay, so now we have to move on to another raya. Here's the pasuk, kviya tachas kviya. We're going to talk about this pasuk later, maybe tomorrow, that a burn for a burn, a wound for a wound, litein tsar b'mokim nezik. That what? That when a person, even though we said that you have to pay for the arm is valued in the slave market $100,000, you pay $100,000. But in addition to that, you also have to pay tsar, the pain. So we'll ask the Gemara, if it means that you have to do exactly what they do to you, what you did to the other person, so you remove this guy's arm, they're going to remove your arm. Why should the guy that caused the damage have to pay for pain? He's getting paid. What is he getting paid? He's getting paid pain. The Torah says, do to him what he did to the other guy. So he made the other guy lose arm, you make him lose arm. That guy has pain, you have pain. You're paying through your pain. Says the Gemara, but sometimes it's not equal pain. Well, my kushya, that's not a great raya. So obviously it can't be literal. It means money. So no, I could also say it's literal. The people that are very, very sensitive to pain, they have 100 pain from a missing arm. And the guy that did the damage, he's a tough guy. He never takes a pain medication. He likes pain. It doesn't bother him. What? I hear. But anyways, let me just explain this. The guy that his arm was removed, initially he has 100 pain. The guy that removed his arm has 50 pain. So then the Torah is not saying, the Torah said you have to pay for pain. You didn't pay for pain, you only paid 50, not 100 pain. So the difference between the 50 and the 100, that you pay in cash. You're asking, it's not mishpah d'chalkuka. I hear. No, this is mishpah d'chalkuka is in everything. Fine. Shalom Aleichem, what's your name? Yosef, you're from? Lauren. Not the guy that's bar mitzvah. Where's that guy? I haven't seen that guy for Shiva. And I didn't see you at his bar mitzvah. It's okay. Shalom Aleichem. What are you saying? Yeah.
Same thing with money. Let's say losing $1,000 for one person is not the same pain as somebody else losing $1,000.
Yeah, but the Gemara said before, what he's asking is, the Gemara said before, you can't mix two types. You can't mix death and money. This and money. Money seems like a different type of...
Take off money or take off your arm. It's still mishpah shavi l'kucham. Tsar that it causes the person, okay, fine. Like that doesn't necessarily have to be the same.
I hear. Okay, we'll have to think about it. He's saying it fills in that pain. Okay. Rav Papa Mishmei the Rava Omar Kro V'Rapa Yirapi. Again, famous pasuk Rabbi. It's a double lashon. What's this double lashon? Again, Rabbi says same source that we had a second ago, so it's easy. It's to say that even though you're paying for the arm, you have to pay for medical bills. And if you mean, it means that you got to take off the guy's arm. Just like this guy needs to be healed by a doctor. The guy that caused the initial damage, he's also going to the doctor. So that's his payment, that he has to go to doctors and pay for his own doctors. Says Gemara, my kushya. One guy is 95 years old, so it takes him a very, very long time to heal. So he has to go to many, many doctors. That costs a lot of money. This guy went to the doctor once, so he only paid for one doctor bill. The guy that he caused the damage to had to pay for 10 doctor bills. So you have to pay 9 doctor bills. The difference. So just a regular Xer Shava. Here we go. Here's where you see in the Torah that you pay money and not the actual limb. Why? Because it says by us, ayin tachas ayin. But also says by shor, shalim shalim shor, tachas ashor. But we all know that by a bull, it's money. Says Gemara, why are you learning this Xer Shava from a bull? Yeah, we're holding by the wide lines already. 5 lines down. Sorry, so I skipped. 2 lines down. Learn from a human being. Just like a human being, we take his life. So if you took somebody's limb, we should take your limb, the life of the limb. We had this story yesterday. It's better to go from hezek to hezek and don't learn damages from death. It's better to learn from another human being, not from an animal. Take it out. Okay. So in fact, we do learn Xer Shava, right? Here's the Xer Shava by us. Just to go back for a second. Tachas, ayin tachas ayin. We're going to take out the bottom pasuk. Shalom shalom shor tachas shor. We're going to insert this pasuk. This is by oinus. A person is ma'anas, a woman has to pay 50 kesef. Tachas asherina. So it does use the word tachas over there, and it's a human being. It's a woman. Yalvlei adam adam and it's damages. Okay, so you see that it's money and not literal. Tanya Rebbe Lezer Oimer ayin tachas ayin mamish. Comes Rebbe Lezer, the famous Rebbe Lezer. We discussed him yesterday, right? He was in Cherem. It means literal, a literal eye. Ask the Gemara, show me one case in the history of Judaism that they ever took somebody's eye, that they ever took somebody's finger. We know it's not. It's impossible. So what are you saying? He doesn't hold like that. No. Of course, he didn't mean literal. It just means you don't bring him to the slave market. So if you don't bring him to the slave market and evaluate him based on a slave, based on a free human being. By the way, if you try to go on AI and try to create an image with a slave, it doesn't even exist. It's gone. There's no such thing as slave. It's awesome. You can't even talk about it. You can't even depict it. So, I think I tried it. Just didn't work for me. Maybe I said the wrong thing. Okay, I'll go about it. So this is a tremendous chiddush, Rabbi Yisai. Think about it. A 20-year-old pilot in the Air Force, he knocked out a 95-year-old man's eye. The 95-year-old man could only see 3 feet in front of him. 6 cataract surgeries, I don't know the whole thing. Could barely see. That's it. The pilot has the best eyesight. So when the pilot knocks out the old man's eye, how much does he have to pay him? $100,000 for old man's eye or $10 million for a pilot's eye? Which one is it? You'd never think this, but the Gemara says it goes based on the guy that causes the damage. It's based on the pilot, not on the guy that's damaged. You don't pay him. It's a chiddush. That's what Rebbe Lezer is trying to say. We had it in the Masechta, right? But the nizik shemina, b'mazik shemina. Here, b'mazik shemina. Says the Gemara.
Why don't we say that the person, because a free person can't have monetary value, but he does, right? Eric, you know, with the basic
yeah, but that's not that's the erech. That's like a one. That's a one. It's a very specific thing. You can't say every. So you tell me all males in the world are exactly the same? Michael Jordan and this guy are worth the same? It doesn't work like that. Some human beings are worth more. They're physically stronger, larger, bigger. They're going to live longer. Ask any accountant. Ask any insurance company. Different human beings have different. That actuary. The what you're talking about is it's a specific list. Every baby's worth this. Every woman is worth that. Every man is worth that. That's you can't base people like that. Elo Amar Rav Ashi Loimar. And how are you going to evaluate an arm? That's a whole human being. How are you going to evaluate? Elo Amar Rav Ashi Loimar. Okay. Hahu Chamra. Terrible story. There's a donkey. They cut the other the eunucha. The kid was playing with the donkey, put his hand in the donkey's mouth, and the donkey bit down. Gone. Also, the Rav Papa Shmuel Omar Lahu Zilu Shumul Arbadvarm. So Rav Papa wasn't exactly sure what happened. He thought that it means the donkey's driver, whatever he thought. So he says, okay, you got to give here all the 5 things they have to do. You have to pay for medical bills, for all the pain, for the busha. Says Taisves, busha. So it must be that this kid is old already. It's not a 2-year-old or a 1-year-old. Talking about a kid that gets embarrassed, that could be embarrassed. Okay. What about the 5? I wasn't talking about the obvious. The obvious is the damage. In addition to the damage, everybody pays damage. I'm talking about in addition to the damage. It's only a donkey. It's not true. When your animal causes damage, you don't pay the 5 things, you only pay 1 damage. You're right. Go evaluate. You have to evaluate him based on a slave. You can't just, evaluate him. You're right. Take him to the slave market and go ahead here. We have a picture. Take him to the slave market and figure out how much he's worth compared to slaves. The reason why we have this picture is for the next line. So the father says, not my son. My son is not going to go to the slave market, start measuring himself up compared to other slaves. No. Chas v'shalom. Not my son. You could gain $100,000 for the arm. Not my son. You're rooting it for the kid. Don't worry about it. I'll pay my son. Whatever damage it is, I'll take care of it. My son will not go through that torture of going to a slave market. Okay? I'll tell you, but you see over here, you said, parents cannot take away from the kids without good reason. If you do, you have to pay them. Yeah? Whatever the case is, you think about the case. But just because he's your kid, he's not your possession. So you can't say, I don't want my kid to benefit this and this. It's not good for him. Too bad on you. Maybe he wants $20,000, $100,000. And if, you have to pay for it. There was a bull that chopped off a kid's head. Also, the coming the Rava. Treat him like a slave. Figure out how much his hand is worth. We're in Iraq. We're in Bava. You can't do this. Yeah? Well, not so much recognized. We just don't have the bezdin we don't have anybody that has smicha here in Bava that could do this. No, what I want you to do is evaluate his arm. And then if this kid goes one day and grabs something from the guy that caused him the damage, we won't take it away from him, but we have to know how much it is. Now, if you don't look in the art scroll, there's a trick here. It says, let's say, v'niske shar ba'adam. Just if you read it in Hebrew, v'niske shar ba'adam. What would that mean to you? That an ox caused damage to a human being. Says Rashi, no, it's the opposite. Ba'adam means the human being caused damage to the ox. So here, just it's a little confusing for me, at least. The bottom, it's very simple. When the shar was damaged, you see the human being on the right gave a punch to the shar, or one shar hit another shar went flying up. Then we could take care of this in Bava. But when the damage was caused to a human being, here on the right, the guy gets tossed into the air. Both times it's a human being that got damaged either by a bull or by another human being. Then we don't take care of this in Bava. That a shar caused damage to a human being. Ask the Gemara, what's the difference between a human being that gets damaged and an animal that gets damaged? Because there's no good bezin in Bavel that has dayanim that have smicha, real smicha, not some guy took a test. I'm not making fun. My son-in-law got smicha from Rabbi Berkowitz in the Jerusalem Kol. It's a very big thing. They work years on it, but it's not the smicha that we're talking about from Moshe Rabbeinu with the generation to generation that they don't have. So for the same reason, so how can you deal with bulls? So what if a bull damaged another bull? But there's no bezin in Bava. Amud Beis, sponsored by Greg Haver, for the success and safe return of our chaylim and hostages, and for the zechus of Klal Yisroel. We're doing the work of the Beis Eretz Yisrael. We're doing the shlichus. Beis Eretz Yisrael sent the people and the dayanim in Bava to take care of it. You're not going to stop loans in Bavel. People need to borrow money. So you got to do some sort of bezdin, even though they don't have authority. So too, even though they don't have authority, they have authority for bulls that damage human beings and bulls. Okay, so let them do it for human beings that were damaged. So the Gemara comes up with another pshat. When we know what we're dealing with, how much money we're talking about, then the Bezdin and Bavel could deal with it. Otherwise, the Bezdin and Bavel doesn't deal with it. What's pshat? I don't know how much a bull is worth. Go to the marketplace for oxen. So if you go to the marketplace and figure out how much damage you caused the bull, so go to the slave market and figure out how much a human being is worth. Let's say same svara, void. Something that's exact. The double payment, the 4 and 5 are exact amounts. So let the Bezdin in Bavel deal with it. When it comes to kefil and dalvehei, that's knas. We're not going to deal with it even in Bavel. Adam ba'adam as the Gemara, but nevertheless, when a human being hurts another human being, a car accident, whatever it is, the mamainu, it's monetary loss. Let Bezdin in Bavel do their job. Bezdin in Bavel will take care of something that is very common. Adam ba'adam, but that a human being hurts another human being, shicha, says the Gemara, somebody will walk over another guy and punch him in the face. Very rare. As the Gemara, this is even, you're saying pshi and that, look at this one. And Rashi says, what's boishis b'gam in this case? Oinis and mafata. And the Gemara is saying it's a very common thing. The shchiach, that what? That the damage that's caused is that she lost her psulim and lefi this. And Rashi says that busha is not a knas. How do I know busha is not a knas? There's not a monetary loss here. But what? We said that it's all dependent on the person that caused it, how great he is, and the person that got it, how great he is. So you see that it's a monetary thing. Says Gemara, you're right. When it comes to we do deal with this in Bavel. Think about it. A ksuba is 200. When somebody embarrasses somebody else, you give them double ksuba. You can live off a ksuba for a whole year. It's a lot of money. 400 zuz Rapapa took for a busha in Bavel. So yeah, busha, the bezin in Bavel deals with busha. As the Gemara of a lesser Rapapa, we don't hold like that. The Shalach le Rav Chisda Rav Nachman. Rav Chisda asked Rav Nachman, what should I do? Should I take care of a case that somebody's claiming that he was very embarrassed? Ushalach le Rav Nachman sent to Rav Chisda, Chisda. You want to deal with a knas, but it's not a real knas, like we said, but it's like a knas in terms of we don't deal with it in Bavel. Okay, so let's take those two tiruts and put them together. There's two what's the word I'm looking for? Two conditions, thank you. Two conditions. First of all, it has to be very common. Second of all, there has to be a monetary loss. And that will explain everything. If it only has one out of two, we don't deal with it in Bavel. In other words, Hilkach. Adam, since a human being that hits another human being. There's obviously a very big monetary loss, but since it's missing the other component, even though shchicha is not common, since it's not common, we don't deal with it. Even though it's common, even the lesbach kiss, you can't say I lost money from it, my face turned red, but I didn't lose any money. Therefore, I also don't deal with it in Bavel. When one ox hits another ox, we deal with it in Bavel. Rava says that we don't deal with it, and we have to understand if a bull hit a human being, why are you talking about that case? What's more common, a human being hitting a human being or a bull hitting a human being? Rashi says a human being hitting another human being is more common. Therefore, say the more common case, bigger chiddush. Even though it's much more common, we still don't deal with it in Bavel. So we're talking about a bull, the damage is another bull. Uktani ain't goyim Bavel. Nevertheless, we don't deal with it in Bavel. So why do you say, Rava, that we do deal with it? Amri, Hasam bitam, Hacha b'mued. Oh, so this is the side that we have to remember. A tam. Is tam monetary damage or is it a knas? Huh? What do we say? Pal geniska knas, remember? That's how we pass. It is machlokes. But we go with Pal geniska, the half of nezek of a tam is considered a knas. Therefore, when we're dealing with a tam in Bavel, we can't deal with it because it's a knas. But when it's a muad, when it already gored somebody 3 times, we do deal with it. As the Gemara of Amarava, a muad bebavel, how did you ever get to a situation where a bull is a muad every time that he gores somebody? It's a tam, and we don't deal with the tam, we don't deal with knas. So you'll never get the situation of a bull being a 3-time offender. It says Gemara Amri the Yayid Hasam Vaisulahacha. A very, very rare case where there was a terrible bull in Eretz Yisrael, and they went to Bezin 3 times, he killed 3 human beings, and then they shipped him off to Bavel. Says the Gemara, the only time meat that comes, bulls that come from Eretz Yisrael to Chutz La'aretz or vice versa, are in vacuum packs. They're sliced up, ready to eat. You don't ship a whole giant bull from one country to another country. Says the Gemara, you're right. That's Rabbanan, and we said if it's very rare, we don't deal with it. That's Rabbanan the husband you do hacha. The musmachim from Eretz Yisrael, they came. They used to visit, and they visited Bavel, and they saw what happened, and they said, okay, he's a muad. Says the Gemara, the punkt, the Rabbanan that had smicha from Eretz Yisrael, they happened to see a bull gore 3 times. Extremely rare. We don't deal with it in Bavel if it's very rare. As we learned, this is chazar rabbi. When it comes to a damage that's caused by an animal that the animal enjoys, he benefits, he eats, or I got to show you this video because just to remind you, because this is what Rashi talks about here in our sugya. When a bull is scratching his back, so says Rashi, maybe he scratched his back on another bull. That's how he caused the damage to the bull, because he was itching, and he scratched his back, and he threw him off a cliff, and he killed him. So that's shen, because he was enjoying himself when he did it. A karen is when he tries to hurt another bull, or he's trying to enjoy himself. How do you have regal? Regal means he's just walking normally down the street, and he pushed the bull off a bridge. In that case, they're considered a muad in Bavel, and you would deal with it. Says the Gemara, Tsar, kvoy b'shapur oy b'masmer. What's tsar? You burnt your friend with a hot iron or with a nail. Says the Gemara, Tsar shleim nezek mishtal mantana. If a person causes damage to somebody else on his fingernail, you don't see it, but it hurts a lot. Who's the Tana that says you have to pay for this? Amar Rava ben Azai. It's machlokes Rebbe and Ben Azai, and it goes according to Ben Azai. This is Rebbe Yomer Kfir Never Tchila. Check out this pasuk. It makes no sense what's going on here. The pasuk starts off with the word Kfir, burn. Tachas Kfir, Chabura. Towards the end of the pasuk says the word Chabura. Says Rebbe, the word Kfir is in the beginning. Okay, very good. Yeah, I see. Ben Azai Yomer Chabura Never Tchila. That makes no sense. Why would Ben Azai say that the word Chabura is in the beginning of the pasuk when it's not? But Michael Mivli, what's going on here? Rebbe Savar Kviya de Lesbe Chabura Mashma. Says Rebbe, no, the word alone, Kviya, would mean where it doesn't have a wound. It's just a burn without a wound. And the Torah says no, at the end, Chabura, Legaluya Allah de Kviya, this is Chabura, in Eloi. If it has a wound, then you pay for this, for the burn, if not, not. Uben Azai Savar, Kviya, this is Chabura Mashma. The opposite. Kviya means with a chabura. So then why did the Torah have to repeat itself? Because chabura, the double lashon chabura, the kfiyah the lesbi chabura says the Gemara. Our sugi goes like Ben Azai, which is a pellet play. Rebbe, who wrote the Mishnah according to the one that argues on him, not according to the Shita, according to the Ben Azai Shita. That what? That even when there's no visible damage, it was just a lot of pain. You pay for that. Rebbe holds you don't pay for it. Ben Azai holds you do, and the Rav Papa is going to ask tomorrow that it makes no sense. It should be the opposite. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.